Hi everyone, welcome to Token Topics. SWIFT, XRP, XLM, XDC, and a new monetary system are the topics of this video. SWIFT to have its own blockchain, we're going to look into that. Russia tech giant company to integrate digital assets into its own blockchain. That's a huge deal. We're going to look into that. Also G7, BRICS, and more. You don't want to miss this video. Please do hit the like, share, and subscribe. Let's go ahead and dive in. Hey DCENT fam, I have a special DCENT wallet announcement. This is a notification about a hard fork that occurred after Ethereum's transition to proof of stake consensus mechanism known as the merge. After the merge, several proof of work blockchains such as ETHW and ETFs have been hard forked. DCENT has decided to withhold direct support until the reliability and stability of the proof of work blockchain is guaranteed. However, you can use the MetaMask QR-based function to check and transfer assets into proof of work blockchain. For more information on connecting DCENT wallet with MetaMask, please refer to DCENT user guide. I'll put that in the description below. A big topic I'm going to cover in this video is SWIFT and Symbiont are working together on a pilot blockchain service. This is not Swift's first rodeo with experimenting with different blockchain. I don't believe it's a threat to XRP at all, and I'll get into that in just a moment. But first, I'd like to go over a very huge topic in the cryptocurrency space, and that is the Ethereum merge. Finally has happened. After 8 years of work and delays of blockchain, Ethereum transitioned to a new method of verifying transactions known as proof of stake. I've gone over the difference between proof of stake and proof of work on this channel quite a bit. It was definitely not an easy task considering that the network was up and running while they did this transformation. Think of it as like trying to change oil due to tune up on a car while it's running down the highway. It's not easy, but they did it. Something that I did notice that was very odd and a lot of people were not talking about is there was a lot of big names. People were saying that Ethereum and a lot of these alts were going to go to the moon. What I'm talking about is tokens that are built on the Ethereum blockchain. That Ethereum was going to go to like 5, 10, some people were saying like 20,000 after the merge. And we actually saw exact opposite. You can't always go by hype. I've seen this being in this market for years now. I've seen exact opposite. Usually when people will say it will do something, it does the exact opposite. Even some big time people that I follow, I don't want to mention any names, but they were stating that around this time that Ethereum was going to be exploding. It actually exploded before this merge was complete. About a week, 2 weeks before it hit almost $1,800. Then that was it. It fell flat on its face. And something that really surprised a lot of people is just recently, XRP is actually pumping and stealing the spotlight right now as far as the main tokens go. That's why I held my tongue, though. I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to say anything about the Ethereum. It was very exciting to hear the news about the Ethereum merge and knowing that we have Stellar XLM that has a bridge to Ethereum. There's all kinds of different bridges. It was exciting still to know that this is going to move the whole blockchain space forward. There's a lot of people invested into Ethereum, but I had a hunch. I didn't want to say anything. I had a feeling that they were going to do exact opposite. The market was going to dump exactly when they got people hyped up thinking it was going to be pumping right now. That's not to say that Ethereum is not still a great hold. Ethereum is it's not only going to be coming up against a lot of competition, it already is right now, and especially with Flare, Quant, Internet Computer, Zinfin Network, XDC with the smart contract capability. I mean, Ethereum is really going to have its hands full when people are going to understand the fees and the speed. No matter how much lipstick you can slap on that pig, it's still a pig. I am very excited about when we're going to be able to start staking XRP on Flare. I'm very excited about how Sologenic is going to work for the XRP ecosystem. Very excited about XLM. Very excited about XDC. I'm very Aquarius. A lot of people are not talking about Aquarius, but when XLM explodes, it's going to be an automated market maker token for the XLM network. Next topic. This is big news about SWIFT. SWIFT is making targeted move to integrate blockchain in a bid to drive efficiency in some of its international financial operations. SWIFT has been talking about working with blockchain for some time. We've known for some time that they're partnered with R3 and linked to Corda. This is information from last year. Bank's Swift messaging system to experiment with tokenized assets in early 2022. So this is not new. But out of this recent news, This is what's different. As reported by Bloomberg, citing as a post from the body, the payment enhancement will be in collaboration with Symbiont. So Symbiont, a blockchain startup with innovative fintech solutions. What I don't understand is throughout all this, they could have just easily partnered with Ripple. It would have been that easy. Now I'm going over this topic of Swift using its own blockchain for a reason. I'm going to get to that in just a moment, especially if you're an XRP holder. Now Swift is huge and majority of the world does use Swift. But that's not going to be the case very much longer. This is why I stated many times on this channel that we're entering into a new paradigm. Not only is there a complete monetary change, but look at all the events that's going on in the world right now, especially dealing with Ukraine and Russia. The Ukraine and Russia war that broke out, if anything, it put pressure to move BRICS forward faster, sooner, to get off the petrodollar. So what is that going to mean for Swift? Well, Swift is going to be blocking and weaponizing any country that they want, that they feel should not be part of the network. In this case, it was Russia that they chose. Russia still has a huge market, and they're still part of the International Monetary Fund. Yes, Russia's still part of the IMF. This also sees other nations as an opportunity to move away from the petrodollar and the SWIFT system, particularly the SWIFT system. Next, I'm going to show you this clip that's really going to open your eyes to see how big of a monetary change that we're entering right now. This is going to give us a better understanding of G7 and the BRICS and how many nations that use the SWIFT system to settle cross-border payments no longer want to use the SWIFT system. And that brings us to a bridge currency. We know that Russia has stated that they plan to create their own blockchain and payment system.
Its focus on global affairs has drawn comparisons to the G7. The G7 stands for Group of Seven and consists of the world's most influential and advanced economies: Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the United Kingdom, and the United States. While the group represents about 44% of the world's GDP, the countries only make up 10% of the world population.
You do see BRICS members consider themselves as a global governance structure. However, this drive to make BRICS as a global governance body that is alternative and supplementary to the existing system.
Developed countries cannot be equated with emerging economies.
Aparajita Pandey is a foreign policy commentator contributing to think tanks such as India's Observer Research Foundation.
Emerging economies, you always have to see that their aim is to get better, get more industrialized, solve more health issues, make sure that their social spending doesn't outrun their income, making sure that they're conserving their environment while they are developing. Comparing them to a group like G7, it's just unfair.
BRICS did manage to move back into growth territory, albeit at a slower pace, but the 2020s have had a rough start, and that's been no different for the BRICS economies.
Against the background of a COVID pandemic, subsequent economic shocks, global supply chain reconfiguration, we are also dealing with the Federal Reserve in the United States is hiking interest rate.
And while much of the debate is around whether the bloc has proved to be a success or a failure in achieving its full economic potential, the fact is that BRICS has managed to stay together despite its diverse grouping.
And in that time, they've rolled out their own financial infrastructure. This includes establishing a reserve currency to challenge the dominance of the US dollar, and their own alternatives to the SWIFT system, which is a messaging platform used by banks worldwide to make financial transactions.
After Russia's annexation of Crimea back in 2014, that was the time when leaders in Europe started to contemplating the idea of, hey, how about we resort to the nuclear option, kicking Russia and Russian banks off the SWIFT system? So that was the time when Russia started to putting together the alternative transaction infrastructure. So that for Russia, mostly motivated by geopolitical reasons. The case for China is really different. Back in the early days of renminbi internationalization, the real pain for Chinese banks, especially the smaller banks, they did not have a stable connection to the SWIFT system.
So as you can see right there, from two different world powers, pressure against the Swiss system. The key is there has to be a bridge asset. there has to be interoperability and there has to be a bridge. It doesn't matter if Russia's creating its own central bank digital currency. It doesn't matter if China's creating its own central bank digital currency. It doesn't matter if governments like Ukraine are using Stellar to create its own central bank digital currency. It doesn't matter if our own United States is using Ripple to help create a central bank digital currency. The key is you still need a vehicle for interoperability. You still need bridge assets. And this brings me back to what the CEO of BlackRock said.
Start off with a foundation. There is a great need for digitization of currency. There is no need for hard currency anymore. And then whether that is the hegemony of the dollar or the hegemony of three different vehicles, we'll see how the market all plays out. I mean, some of the suggestions that you just brought up is more political, and I'm trying to focus on the social need of why we need digital currency. So I'm a very large believer of a stable coin type of currency, not a Bitcoin, a stable coin that is based on a currency, or each country or a country creates a digitization of that.
You could have a basket of currencies, right?
Or you could create, that would be a fantastic vehicle, a basket of a world currency.
A basket of a world currency. That would be a fantastic idea. What's very interesting is how Ripple was aimed for enterprise use case, Stellar was aimed for retail, and XinFin is aimed for global trade. Now, it is very, very important to note that these BRICS banks are already partnered with Ripple. Ripple and India's federal bank are already partnered. Recently, we got news about the partnership in Brazil, which is another BRICS nation, and the list goes on. We know that Argentina wants to join BRICS, and they also are Ripple-enabled. Looking back at this article, BRICS Development Bank admit that the UAE, Bangladesh, and Uruguay as new members of BRICS. We know that Russia's central bank already tested out XRP. It's already been tested out. So you can see Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. It keeps going on. So no matter what happens, the plumbing is already in place. The plumbing's already in place. What we're hearing on the news now, it's already been done. You can see Ripple's UAE connection right there. This was just June of this year. Thailand seeks closer ties with BRICS and BRICS Plus. We can't forget Ripple's strong partnership and ties with Japan. And right there you see Thailand wanted to join BRICS. Last but not least, Russia's tech giant Rostec to test digital asset payments in international trade. Rostec eyes Russky Islands for trials of digital currency payments. The largest Russian industrial technological conglomerate, Rostec, is preparing to launch a project dedicated to integrating cryptocurrencies into cross-border transactions. Integrating cryptocurrencies. I like that. Integrating cryptocurrencies into cross-border transactions. The main task will be to limit the negative effects of sanctions on the activities of Russian importers and exporters that are experiencing right now. Proposals to legalize the use of digital financial assets in deals with partners including cryptocurrencies, stable coins, and the upcoming digital ruble. So there you have it. You still need that bridge currency, and it's all about that interoperability. Well, that's all I have for the video. Go ahead and please put your comments and thoughts down below. I always love to read them. What are your thoughts on XRP being the primary bridge? What are your thoughts on XLM, XDC? What about XLM being for retail, XDC for global trade? I think it fits. I want to say thank you everyone for watching Token Topics. Please do hit the like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.